of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and to the entire humanity. Dear children, dear parents, I would request you to all to take wuzu prior to sitting down for the Majlis of Baba Abdullah. And tonight we are here to learn about the Masayib of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam, the Bawafa Alamdar alayhi salam. And very important not to waste water. Today is the second day where the water has been stopped on the children in the camps of Baba Abdullah. Dear children, let's all put our hands together. Let's all put our hands together and start with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I start in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Let's all send our salam to Aba Abdullah, Imam Hussain. Assalamu ala al-Hussain, wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussain, wa ala awlad al-Hussain, wa ala ashab al-Hussain. Once again, I would like you guys to understand what this salam really means. So we are sending salam on Imam Hussain. Then we are sending salam wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussain, wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussain. We are sending salam to Ali, son of Imam Hussain. And after that, we are sending salam on Awlad al-Hussain, means the children of Imam Hussain. And after that, we're saying wa ala ashab al-Hussain. We are sending salam on the companions of Imam Hussain. And tonight is the Masayib of Hazrat Abul Fazl al-Abbas alayhi salam. So let's all send our salam to the father. Assalamu alayka ya Imam Ali. Let's send salam to Bibi Fatima Zahra, who made dua. Assalamu alayki ya Bibi Fatima Zahra. Let's send salam to the mother of Hazrat Abbas. Assalamu alayki ya Bibi Ummul Baneen. Let's send salam. Assalamu alayka ya Hazrat Abbas. Assalamu alayka ya Imam Mehdi.
Assalamu alaikum. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي يومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم أجمعين. Jazakallah, mashallah Burhan. Really nicely recited Tilawat Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with you. May Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam be pleased with you. Jazakallah, mashallah Burhan. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم أجمعين. MashaAllah. Please, I request all of you guys to recite salawat. Now we have with us Sayyidah Sakina and Sayyidah Masuma who have prepared a noha for all of you guys. Please send your salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali
Assalamu alaikum. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum ajma'in. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Abbas na lauटे, Abbas na lauटे, मखदल की ज़मीन भाग गई, अब्बास न लौटे, शह आ गए, माश्क आ गए, अब्बास न लौटे, इस शान से मखदल को सिधा रातालमदार, इस शान से मखदल को सिधा रातालमदार, आदा की नजर खा गई, अब्बास न लौटे, शह आ गए, माश्क आ गए, अब्बास न लौटे, बहता हुआ कानों से लहू, सूखे हुए लब, बहता हुआ कानों से लहू, सूखे हुए लब, दिखलाने सकीना गई, अब्बास न लौटे, शह आ गए, माश्क आ गए, अब्बास न लौटे, देती रही आवाज पे आवाज सकीना, देती रही आवाज पे आवाज सकीना, आखिर को कज़ा खा गई, अब्बास न लौटे, शह आ गए, माश्क आ गए, अब्बास न लौटे, क्या जानिए क्यों रूठ गए, कहती थी ज़ैनब, क्या जानिए क्यों रूठ गए, कहती थी ज़ैनब, रुखसत की घड़ी आ गई, अब्बास न लौटे, शह आ गए, माश्क आ गए, عباس نہ لوٹے پانی کے لیے مشک و علم لے کے گئے تھے پانی کے لیے مشک و علم لے کے گئے تھے دن ڈھل گیا رات آ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے شہ آ گئے مشک آ گئے عباس نہ لوٹے خیموں میں لگی آگ تو منہ کو بلانے خیموں میں لگی آگ تو منہ کو بلانے معصوم سکینہ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے شہ آ گئے مشک آ گئے عباس نہ لوٹے مخدل کی زمین بھاگ گئی عباس نہ لوٹے شہ آ گئے مشک آ گئے عباس نہ لوٹے اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرج المسلمین
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم أجمعين. MashaAllah, Jazakallah, Sayyidah Sakina and Sayyidah Masma. And really, really heart-touching Noha you recited tonight. And for a lot of you, it's so important for you to understand and listen carefully to the wordings of the Noha. The wordings of this Noha was that the mashq in which Hazrat Abbas went to grab water, that came back to the camp, to the tents, but Hazrat Abbas did not come back with the mashq. And the mashq was empty. There was no water inside the mashq. MashaAllah, Jazakallah, may Allah be pleased with you. May you be among the companions of Imam Mehdi. Jazakallah, MashaAllah. Dear children, MashaAllah.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Elise and I'm from Melbourne, Australia. Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بار الخلائق أجمعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا بالقاسم محمد صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني ويفقهوا قولي اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Happiness in its true essence. To understand happiness in its true essence, I would like to put through some thought-inciting questions and scenarios to my audience, and we'll be taking some examples to understand true happiness. Why is it that Allah creates us with so much love and sends us to this world to find Him and promises us Jannah and gives us such beautiful role models like our Imams? Why do we then still find ourselves miserable and life not as happy? We seem to be just struggling like a donkey tied to a mule, going round and round endlessly. Why doesn't there seem to be any purpose to life? We find absurd reason and blame others for our unhappiness. For example, as kids, we either blame our parents for not waking us up on time and reminding us to complete a task. Later in life, we blame them for not realizing our true potential. We blame our siblings for distracting us, for not being able to focus on our studies. As adults, we blame the country we live in. We blame the system. In the end, if we don't get anyone, we will blame Allah for not giving us enough opportunities. In other words, we are constantly looking at immediate reasons and cause and effect, and looking for someone who can take the blame for why we are unhappy and why we have not succeeded in life and attained the great ideals that we had from the time we were used to. The reason we think are unhappy is not the apparent reason. The reason we are unhappy is because we have lost our connection to our Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because we cannot exist without Allah. It is impossible to disconnect from Him, but it is possible to be in a state of ghafla. Now, ghafla means being negligent or being uncaring. Allah is closer to us than a jugular vein. Most of us would know what a jugular vein is, but I will still explain it a little for those who don't know about it. So the jugular vein is inside our throats and connecting our brain to our heart. Now I would ask you guys to put your hands on your throat and imagine a highway or a road inside that is carrying blood to your brain. I hope you guys notice how close it is. Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is even more closer than that. Allah is constantly with us. But we are asleep. We are in a state of ghafla. Allah constantly tells us in the Quran, if you forget me, I will not lose anything, but you will harm yourselves. The best way to maintain connection with Allah is to remember Allah at all times through zikr, prayers, and including Allah in our every deed. I would like to elaborate a bit more in a form of a story now. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Rahim. He went to a rich and a wise man to learn about the secret of happiness in his palace. The wise man asked the boy Rahim, go look around my palace and return in 2 hours. Meanwhile, I want you to hold this spoon with 2 drops of oil. As you wander around, carry the spoon with you without allowing the oil to spill. Rahim began climbing and descending the many stairways of the palace, keeping the eye fixed on the spoon. He went through the gardens of the palace and wandered around. After 2 hours, Rahim returned to the wise man's room. Well, asked the wise man, did you see the Persian tapestries hanging on the dining hall? Did you see the master garden which took 10 years to create? Did you see the beautiful parchments in the library? Rahim was embarrassed and confessed he didn't observe anything. His only concern was to not spill the oil. The wise man entrusted to Rahim, pick the spoon and go and observe the marvels of his world. You cannot trust a man if you don't know his house, said the wise man. Rahim picked up the spoon and went around the palace, this time observing all the works of art in buildings, gardens, ceilings, and everything. This time he detailed everything to the wise man. But where are the drops of oil and spoon? Asked the wise man. Rahim saw the spoon and the oil was gone. Well, there is only one piece of advice I can give you, said the wise man. Spoon with oil is similar to connection and focus, which you missed while wandering around my palace, and my palace is analogous to this world. To attain happiness, always keep your eyes open and at all times and never forget Allah. Be attentive to this world, but always stay connected to Allah. Well, the story tells us the importance of focus and importance of remembering Allah at all times. We should never forget how far our Imams went for the love of Allah. Our third Imam, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, was so connected with Allah that he gave his everything in the path of Allah. His 72 followers were so devoted to him and his turn to Allah that they didn't leave Imam Hussain even when given an option. In essence, the true happiness, as I stated before, does lie in maintaining our connection to Allah. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali.
Jazakallah, mashallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with you. Dear children, dear parents, moving on now with tonight's getting closer to the Masayib of Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas. Somebody asked in the comments whose majlis we are doing tonight. This is the majlis of all the Shohadai Karbala, but each night we are trying to identify and understand about each certain personality that was present at Karbala. But all of these different personalities, we go each night, dear children, from Hazrat Qasim, Hazrat Ali Asghar, Hazrat Ali Akbar, Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas, they all got martyred on the same day, on the day of Ashura. You should not get confused that on the 8th, Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas was martyred. On the 6th, Hazrat Ali Asghar was martyred. It's not like that, dear children. They were all martyred on the 10th of Muharram. Dear children, let's look at the screen. The word, remember this word, dear children. I'm going to say it, which is shabi. Okay, shabi means a propagate or representation of the Rosa of Masumin alayhimus salam. So what does that mean? Many times we hear people saying that Hazrat Ali Akbar was the Shabi of Rasulullah, was like a complete match of Rasulullah in his attitude, in his personality, in his look, mashallah. So we also, to remember what happened at Karbala, we use these items in remembrance what actually took part. The alam is the shabi of Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas alam when he went to Nehr Furat to get water for the orphans, for the children crying. The same manner, Zuljana, every year in Pakistan, India, in many parts of the country around the world, they take out horses and dress it in such a way that it is representing Zuljana, the horse of Abba Abdullah Hussain. We also have Tabut, which is the coffin. We make those in as a shabi of the Tabut of Rasul Khuda, Tabut of Imam Hussain, Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas, and near many nights in the Majlis, if you go to your centers, Imam Baragas, you notice how the Tabut is coming. Some nights they will go around the center, Imam Baraga, with the alam of Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas. This is what it means to remember and to love this certain propagate representation of the Masumin alayhimus salam, dear children. Each night we're going through this. We have covered, if you look at, dear children, at the green star on the screen, because I can't take my cursor, or maybe I can here, dear children. So we know Bibi Fatima and Imam Ali were married. They had Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain, Bibi Zainab, Bibi Kulsum, and Hazrat Muhsin. When Bibi Fatima died, then Imam Ali married and Bibi Banin. They both had a child, Hazrat Abbas. Just like tonight, Muhammad Mehdi Ali explained beautifully how Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas was born. So he's also the son of Imam Ali and Bibi Banin. So that's, and if you look at this screen, dear children, this is talking about who is Bibi Banin, Lubaba and Ruqayya. So Imam Ali and Bibi Banin, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children, according to most historians. We have Hazrat Abbas, the oldest son. We have Abdullah, Usman, Jafar, and Bibi Ruqayya, who also is the wife of Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil. Remember, he went to Kufa and he got shaheed. He was thrown from the highest roof in the tower. Remember, the ambassador and the cousin. So coming back to Hazrat Abbas, okay, look at the green box. Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. His wife, we need to also know who his wife is or was, if many of you want to say it that way. Bibi Lubaba bint Ubaidullah. Okay, and many historians says Hazrat Abbas had 4 sons, some says 5 sons and 2 daughters. Allah knows best. Why do we call him Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas? Why Abul Fazl means the father of Fazl. One of his sons' name is Fazl. Okay, dear children. Now moving on, I am gonna show you pictures of the shrine of Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas. So as you look at this shrine, send your salam. Assalam alayka ya ibn Amir al-Mu'mineen. Assalam alayka wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you can't say, if you don't know whose shrine it is, where you are going, just say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's more than enough, dear children. This is the shrine of Hazrat Abbas when he was shaheed. After that, they built this shrine in honor of Hazrat Abbas. Right, the opposite side is the shrine of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. The 2 brothers buried very close to each other, and in the middle we call it Bainul Harmain. I pray to Allah we all go, inshallah, next year or in the coming years, whenever it is for our safety, that we go and visit the holy shrines. Dear children, this is Nahr Furat, the river where Hazrat Abbas went to get water. This is where on the return he didn't make it, dear children. This is Nahr Furat. This is how Nahr Furat looks like today. If you go for the ziyarat, the people, if you the travelers group will take you to Nahr Furat here as well. All these people have been to the ziyarat. They've come here and witnessing and try to remember what happened to Hazrat Abbas when he came near the water of Furat, how he wanted to drink the water, but he remembered, no, I can't drink the water. Everybody is waiting for me. Everybody is thirsty. I need to take water for them first. I said to my mother, I will never drink water before the children of Imam Hussain. How can I drink water? Remember this, dear children. This is the inside the holy shrine of Hazrat Abbas. Can you all see the mashq? In the olden days, they didn't have bottle to take water. They had mashq to carry waters. They took this to the river to carry water. And the arrows made holes in this mashq that the water dripped down. The water never made it back to the camp, dear children. As you enter here, this is the door going towards the haram of Hazrat Abbas. You send your salam, dear children. Look at this, dear children, very carefully. Do you know what this is? If you know, type in the comments if you know what this place is. This is 2 places where both arms of Hazrat Abbas were cut off. This is first place where the arm was cut off, or this is the second place, vice versa. I'm not too sure, but one hand was cut off here and the other was cut off here. In remembering that, they have built a certain place. This is in the near the shops in Iraq. Dear children, tonight's message, let's come towards that. Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas, we know he is the flag bearer. Tonight, very beautifully, Muhammad said, he's the flag bearer, and he said he showed loyalty in the real meaning. Wafa. Many know as you listen, we call him Ba Wafa. who showed complete loyalty to Imam of his time, Imam Hussain, till his very last breath. Let's all make dua to Allah. Ya Allah, make me as brave and loyal like Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. Ilahi Ameen, dear children. Now I am going to play the video by Sayyidah Hania Naqvi, and inshallah soon Tijani brothers will join us. Please recite a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'in.
Known as Qamar Bani Hashim, the moon of the family of Hashim. Hazrat Abbas was very popular with the children of Imam Hussain, especially Bibi Sakina, who was only 4 years old. Whenever the children wanted anything, they would cry out, Ya Abbas or Ya Ammu, and Hazrat Abbas would go running. But from the 7th of Muharram, Abbas was unable to respond to their cries for water. Then came the day of Ashura. After Zuhr prayers, one by one, the brave companions of Imam Hussain fell in the battlefield. At last, only Imam Hussain, Hazrat Ali Akbar, and Hazrat Abbas were left. Imam Zain al-Abidin lay sick in his tent. Several times Hazrat Abbas asked Imam Hussain for permission to go and fight. Each time Imam Hussain would reply, Abbas, you are the captain of my army. You are my alamdar, the standard bearer. Hazrat Abbas would never argue with Imam Hussain. His 3 brothers were killed in the battle fought after Zuhr. Imam Hussain could see the anger in Hazrat Abbas's eyes, especially when Hazrat Qasim's body was trampled upon by the enemy. Imam Hussain knew that if he let Hazrat Abbas go and fight, there would be a massacre in the enemy rank. Imam Hussein's object was to reawaken Islam and not to score a victory on the battlefield. Just then, Bibi Sakina came out, holding a dried-up water bag. She walked up to Hazrat Abbas and said, Alatash ya Ammu, I'm thirsty, O my uncle Abbas. Hazrat Abbas went to Imam Hussain and requested for permission to go and get water for Bibi Sakina. Imam Hussain gave his permission. Hazrat Abbas put Bibi Sakina's mashk on the alam, mounted his horse, and rode up to Imam Hussain. He said, I've come to say goodbye. Imam Hussain said, my brother, come and embrace me. Hazrat Abbas dismounted his horse. Tears in the Imam's eyes as Hazrat Abbas prepared to mount his horse. Imam Hussain said, my brother, I want a gift from you. I want your sword. Hazrat Abbas, without uttering a word, gave Imam Hussain his sword and rode into the battlefield, armed only with the spear and holding the alam. There were 30,000 enemy soldiers in the battlefield. They had all heard of the valor of Hazrat Abbas. A cry arose, Abbas is coming! Yazid's soldiers started hiding behind one another. A few brave ones dared go near Hazrat Abbas, but were soon put to death by the spear or by a kick. Hazrat Abbas reached the river Furat. He filled the mush with water. He himself was very thirsty. He took the water in his palms. He looked at it and threw it away, saying, O water Furat, my lips can welcome you only after Bibi Sakina has quenched her thirst. Placed the mush on his alam and started to ride back. Umar Saad cried out, Do not let that water reach Hussein's camp. otherwise we shall all be doomed. A soldier climbed a tree, and as Hazrat Abbas was riding past the tree, he struck his sword on the right shoulder. The spear and the arm fell onto the ground. Just then, someone crept behind Hazrat Abbas and struck him on the left shoulder. The alam fell. Hazrat Abbas gripped the mushk with his teeth. His one object was to get the water to Bibi Sakina. Fighting with his feet, he urged the horse to get him to Imam's camp as quickly as possible. Alas, an arrow was shot. It went flying across the desert and hit the bag. The water began to pour out, and with the water, all the hopes of Hazrat Abbas poured onto the sands of Karbala to be buried forever in the thirsty desert. Hazrat Abbas now did not want to go back and face Bibi Sakina. With his feet, he signaled the horse to turn back. The enemy surrounded him from all sides. Hazrat Abbas fell from the horse. As he fell, he cried out, "My salams to you, Ya Mawla." Imam Hussain seemed to lose all his strength when he heard the voice of his dear brother, Abbas. When Hazrat Abbas left to go to fetch water, Imam stood at the gate of the camp, watching the alam. Bibi Sakina was standing next to Imam Hussain, also with her eyes fixed on the alam. When Hazrat Abbas reached the river bank and bent down to fill the mushk, the alam disappeared from sight. Bibi Sakina was frightened and looked at her father. Imam said, "Sakina, your uncle Hazrat Abbas is at the river bank." Bibi Sakina smiled and said, "Alhamdulillah," and called out all the children to welcome Hazrat Abbas. When Hazrat Abbas lost both arms, the alam fell onto the ground. Bibi Sakina could see it no longer. She looked at Imam Hussain, but he turned his face away. Bibi Sakina began to tremble with fear, and her eyes filled with tears. She raised her hands and prayed, "Ya Allah, do not let them kill my uncle, Abbas. I will never ask for water again," and ran inside to her mother. Imam Hussain reached where Hazrat Abbas was lying. It was a tragic sight. Hazrat Abbas was lying on the ground. Both arms had been severed. There was an arrow in the right eye, and blood blocked the left eye. As soon as Hazrat Abbas sensed the presence of Imam Hussain, he said, "Mawla, why did you take the trouble to come over? Please go back and look after Sakina." Imam Hussain said, "My dear brother, all your life you have served me and my children. Is there anything I can do for you at this last moment of your life?" Hazrat Abbas replied, "Aqa, please clean the blood from my eyes so that I can see your beloved face before I die." Imam cleaned the blood. Hazrat Abbas fixed his gaze on the Imam. Then he said, "Mawla, please do not carry my body to the camp. I do not wish Sakina to see me in this state." Imam Hussain took Hazrat Abbas in his arms and kissed his forehead. Abbas bin Ali. Abbas advanced towards the river Euphrates, killing the enemy charging towards him. He continued his advance into the heart of Ibn Sa'd's army. He was under a heavy shower of arrows, but was able to penetrate them and get to the river. He immediately started filling the water skin in a remarkable and immortal gesture of loyalty to his brother and Muhammad's grandson. He did not drink any water despite being severely thirsty. He put the water skin on his right shoulder and started riding back towards their tents. Umar ibn Sa'd ordered his army to kill him, saying that if Abbas succeeds in taking water back to his camp, we will not be able to defeat them. A massive army blocked his way and surrounded him. He was ambushed from behind. A soldier cut off his right arm. He put the water skin on his left shoulder and continued his way. However, his left arm was also cut off. Abbas now held the water skin with his teeth. The army of Ibn Sa'd started shooting arrows at him. One arrow hit the water skin and water poured out of it. Now he turned his horse back towards the army and charged towards them. But one arrow hit his eye, and someone hit the back of his head with a huge lance, and he fell off the horse. In his last moments, Abbas was trying to wipe the blood in his eyes to enable him to see Imam Hussein's face. He asked his brother not to take his body back to the camps because he had promised to bring back water, but failed. He could not bear to face his beloved niece Sakina, the daughter of Imam Hussain. Then, upon the insistence of the Imam, Abbas called him brother for the first time in his life, instead of calling him master or sir. Before the death of Abbas ibn Ali, the Imam said, Abbas, your death is like the breaking of my back.
Thank ya Hussein. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajmain. Dear children, dear sisters and brothers, now we have with us Sayyidah Noria Naqvi, who is also, she has put a lot of effort tonight and she has prepared a noha. So now I will request Sayyidah Noria Naqvi to please share her noha. Please recite salawat for her well-being, for her family's well-being. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
کرتے ہیں ماتم حرم عباس کا ہو گیا مرنا ستم عباس کا کرتے ہیں ماتم حرم عباس کا ہو گیا مرنا ستم عباس کا ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار کہتے تھے کمر تھام کے یہ سید ابرار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار یہ حال ہے لاشے کا سنبھالا نہیں جاتا سنبھالا نہیں جاتا تیر آنکھ سے بھائی کی نکالا نہیں جاتا نکالا نہیں جاتا امداد کو آ جائے یا حیدر کرار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار زینب نے تیری یاس پہ چھوڑا تھا مدینہ چھوڑا تھا مدینہ میں کیسے بتاؤں اسے سقائے سکینہ سقائے سکینہ مارا گیا زینب تیری چادر کا نگہدار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار تم قتل ہوئے ہم پہ بھی چل جائے گی شمشیر چل جائے گی شمشیر اغیار میں رہ جائے گی تنہا میری ہمشیر تنہا میری ہمشیر زینب کی رضا بچنے کے باقی نہیں آثار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار جس طرح سے گھر لائے تھے مسجد سے علی کو مسجد سے علی کو اس طرح سے لے جائیں گے خیمے میں جری کو خیمے میں جری کو اکبر میرے بھائی کا جنازہ کرو تیار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار ہائے علمدار بازو بھی قلم ہو گئے ہیں بازو شبیر ए बाजुए शब्बीर, टुकड़े हैं बदन आँख में, पैवस्त हुआ तीर, पैवस्त हुआ तीर। किसने ये मेरी माँ की दुआओं पे किया वार, हाय अलमदार, हाय अलमदार, हाय अलमदार, हाय अलमदार। सलावत।
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم أجمعين. MashaAllah, Jazakallah, Sayyidah Hania Naqvi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all your efforts constantly in the Majlis of Aba Abdullah Hussain in its complete manner. And aapko koi gham na de siwaye gham-e Hussain alayhi salam. Dear children, dear parents, joining us live now, we have Shabir Tijani joining us tonight for the Masayib of Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas, and we'll finish off tonight's Majlis with the Noha recitation. Dear children, let's all pay our respect in this Majlis of Aba Abdullah Hussain and Bil Hussain Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas. Let's all recite a loud salawat for the well-being of Tijani brothers, Hashim sisters, and for their families. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'in. I would now request Shabir Tijani brother to please start tonight's Majlis with your message with the Masayib of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل. Doing the Masayib of Abul Fadl Abbas alayhi salam is an almost impossible task. But let's just go back in the history to when Abul Fadl was born. When Mullah Abbas was born, it is said that he would not open his eyes. His mother had him in her arms and he wouldn't open his eyes. And she turned to Mullah Ali and said, "Oh, my master, I think there's something wrong with my son. He's not opening his eyes." Mullah Ali said, "Just pass him to his brother Hussain." And as soon as Hussain took him in his arms, Abul Fadl opened those beautiful eyes for the first time. And then we go into history and we look at when Mullah Ali alayhi salam was leaving this world. Mullah Ali gathered all of his family members and his companions and everyone together, and he made everyone pledge their allegiance to Mullah Hussain alayhi salam. And when he made everyone pledge their allegiance to Mullah Hussain alayhi salam, there was one child left in the corner of the room sobbing and crying, and al-Baneen said, "Oh, my master, has my son done something wrong?" Ali called his son Abbas towards him. He called Hussain towards him. He said, "Oh, Abbas, I've made everyone pledge their allegiance to Hassan, Imam Hussain alayhi salam. But your allegiance is always going to be with Hussain alayhi salam. Put your hands on the hands of Hussain and never leave his side." When we think of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam, we think of his honor, his valor, his bravery, his courage. But one thing I want to talk about today was the love of Abul Fadl Abbas. The sabr of Abul Fadl Abbas. You see in history, on several occasions, there was times when Abul Fadl could have fought, but he was stopped and he was told, "Oh, Abbas, you've only been created to fight on the day of Ashura. Put your sword away, don't fight today." And look what happens on the day of Ashura. Mullah Hussain says to Abbas, "Oh, Abbas, imagine the heart of Abul Fadl Abbas." He says, "Oh, Abbas, you've been brought up and you've been raised to fight on this day, but today I want you to put your sword away and just go out and bring some water back for the children." Imagine what Hazrat Abbas's heart must have felt at that time when this man who is the epitome of honor, epitome of bravery, a man who could take on an army by himself, gets told, "Put away your sword and only go out to get some water in a flask." But Abul Fadl would never say no to his master, even though his heart was breaking from inside. He got on his horse, he got his alam, he got the canteen, the flask of Ibn Sakina, and he rode towards the battlefield. He broke through the enemy's lines as if they were non-existent, and he finally got to Furat. He put his feet in the river Furat. He looked down, he takes the water into his hand, and as soon as he takes the water into his hand, remember, this is a man who's been thirsty for 3 days. He looks at the water and he sees the face of Sakina, and he takes the water flask and he sees the face of Sakina on my side, and we got to the point where Abu Fadl Abbas left the tents towards the battlefield. As he heads towards the battlefield, Abu Fadl Abbas takes the alam and he breaks through the lines of the enemies as if they're non-existent. He puts his feet into the water and he takes the water into his hand. He doesn't take a drink of the water. When he looks at the water, he sees the face of Bibi Sakina and he throws the water back. He tells his horse to drink from the water, and imagine the loyalty of even the horse. Where the horse refuses to drink the water, Abu Fadl takes the water into the flask and he turns around and rides back towards the tents. It is said at this point that the enemies, because they could not beat him in one-on-one combat, they all gathered around him and people were hiding in trees. It is at that point someone comes out from behind a tree and cuts the right hand of Abu Fadl Abbas. He takes the water flask onto his left hand. It is said a few moments later someone comes out from the trees and cuts his left hand. Abu Fadl is left without any arms, but he takes the canteen into his mouth and he holds the alam on his chest. It is at this moment they say that Hurmala, when Mukhtar captured him, Hurmala said there were 2 arrows that I fired at Abu Fadl that broke him. One was the arrow that I fired into his eye, and one was the arrow that I fired into the mushk. It is said that when the arrow is fired into the mushk and the water starts to spill, Abu Fadl loses all hope, all dreams that he had of taking the water back. What does he do? He turns back towards the tents. He turns back towards the water and he rides back towards the river again. Abu Fadl can't bear to see the face of Bibi Sakina and tell her that he wasn't able to bring the water. It is said at that moment someone hits Abu Fadl on the head and he falls from the horse. Imagine a man who is so tall without any arms falling off the horse. How would he have fallen? He would have fallen onto his face. But not only would he have fallen into his face, imagine there was an arrow in one of his eyes. How he would have fallen onto the ground. Imagine how the arrow would have embedded itself into the back of Abu Fadl's eyes. Mullah Hussain then hears the call of his brother. He says, Ya Akhi, As-salam. Abu Fadl never called his brother Akhi. He says, Ya Mawla, As-salam, Ya Aqa, As-salam. Mullah Hussain comes running into the battlefield. Abu Fadl has blood in one eye and an arrow in the other eye. All he can hear is the sound of the horse's footsteps. He says, oh man, know that I am the line of Haydar. Don't come anywhere near me. But the rider comes closer and closer. As Mullah Hussain kneels towards Abu Fadl smells the sweet scent of Imamat coming from the beard of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Imam Hussain alayhi salam says, oh my brother, what have they done to you? Abu Fadl says. Abu Fadl then moves his head. Imam Hussain puts the head of Abu Fadl on his laps. But Abu Fadl moves his head from the laps of Mullah Hussain. He does it again. He does it a third time. Mullah Hussain says, oh Abu Fadl, oh my brother, why are you moving your head from my laps? He says, oh my master, in my final moments, my head will be on your laps. In your final moments, whose laps will your head be on? Mullah Hussain says, oh my brother, don't you worry. My mother, Bibi Fatima, is coming and she will be there in my final moments. Mullah Hussain rests the head of Abu Fadl on his laps. His own Fadl. As you're leaving this world, do you have any final wish? Abu Fadl says, oh my master, when I was born, my mother told me that I would not open my eyes until I saw your beautiful face. As I leave this world and breathe my last breaths, I just want to see your beautiful face, my master. But I've got no arms, and in one eye I've got an arrow, and the other eye is covered with blood. If it's not too much of a problem, please can you wipe the blood from my eye? Mullah Hussain wipes the blood from the eye of Abul Fadl. And the Mullah Hussain says, oh Abul Fadl, I've got one final wish myself. Abul Fadl says, oh my Aka, any wish for you? He says, oh Abul Fadl, just call me brother once before you leave this world. At this moment, Mullah Abbas is in a very difficult situation because he's told his mother, since he was born, he has promised his mother that he will never call him brother. But yet, in his final moments, he's got his Mawla, his Ata telling him, call me brother. What does he do? Mullah Hussain says, and this is in Urdu for those of you who understand, he says, Faryad suno meri baar mujhe bhai kehkar tu bula ghazi. He says, oh my brother, listen to my call, listen to my cries and call me brother just once in life. Mullah Hussain says, बचपन में तेरा झूला हाथों से झुलाया था हाथों को तेरे लेकर चलना भी सिखाया था अब इन हाथों से मैं किस तरह उठाऊंगा बिन बाजु ये लाश तेरी फरियाद सुनो मेरी एक बार मुझे भाई कह कर तो बुला गाजी अकबर का कलेजा है नजरों में मेरे भैया असगर का लहू होगा हाथों में मेरे भैया मैं किसको पुकारूंगा मैं किसको सदा दूंगा बतला दो मेरे गाजी Mullah Abbas says रुख करके नजफ का फिर Mullah Abbas turns his head towards Najaf and he says रुख करके नजफ का फिर गाजी ने कहा बाबा अब पास नहीं बाजू मैं क्या करूं या ज़हरा मौला है अकेला ऐ करबल में बची है बस शबीर की तन्हाई आका में सुए खैमा हरगिज़ नहीं जाऊंगा मैं कैसे सकीना को मुँह अपना दिखाऊंगा अब रोज क़यामत तक दरिया के किनारे से उठवाना न लाश मेरी करबल में तिजानी थी शबीर की ये हालत एक बार कहो भाई पूरी हो मेरी हसरत अब्बास के होठों से एक बार सदाई शबीर मेरे भाई Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa al Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. On nights like this, on this night in particular, when I think of the Masayib of Al-Fadl Abbas, my heart wants to be transported to Karbala, to that shrine where I can meet, when I can see Abul Fadl. Inshallah, we all get the chance to go for Arba'een. And I want all the parents, all the children ever at home to recite with me, because not only does the Masai Abul Fadl Abbas make the heart softer and make us weep, make us cry, but it makes our will stronger, makes our determination stronger. And inshallah, we all get the chance to go to Karbala for Arba'een. And I want all of you at home to say, Labbaik ya Hussain, Labbaik ya Hussain, Labbaik ya Hussain, Labbaik ya Hussain. And we say that inshallah we will be there by your side. Walking upon the angels' wings, leaving behind everything. 75 kilometers on our way to the King of Kings. The air is filled with so much love. The stars shine on us from above. This is our call to everyone. Raise up your hands and say as one, Labbaik ya Hussain. Everybody together. Labbaik ya Hussain. Labbaik ya Hussain. Labbaik ya Hussain. Karbala, we are on our way to you. Ya Hussain, we want to see your dome soon. And Bishop, for us, O Fatima had prayed, that is the reason we were made, created to cry for Hussein. On that day we'd come to his aid. We'll not stop our service to him. We may be hurt or lose our life. This is our call to everyone. Raise up your hands and say as one, Labbaik ya Hussain. Everybody together at home. Labbaik ya Hussain. Labbaik ya Hussain. Labbaik ya Hussain. Karbala, we are on our way to you. Ya Hussain, we want to see your dome soon. As we lay eyes upon your dome, we start to shake right to the bone. Speechless, we just look on and know we can't control the tears that flow. Standing in Bain al-Haramain, between Abbas and you, Hussein. This is our call to everyone. Raise up your hands and say as one, Labbaik ya Hussain. Karbala, we are on our way to you. Ya Hussain, we want to see your dome soon. And let's end with one final noha. I won't take much more of your time. In Farsi, in English, and in Urdu. Ustad nabarda maidan, bar jisme hame alam jan, bar takht daliri sultan kiye Abbas az bade mardi sirab, kurse kamare alam tab, ganjinoy ishq نایاب کیه عباس مسند دلاوری رو صاحبه صف شکن لشکر محاربه جنگوری بی حریف از چند پیوز پور علی ابن ابی طالبه مولا 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 ابوالفضل مولا 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 ابوالفضل مولا 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 ابوالفضل Mola, 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 Abul Faz, the mirror image of Haydar, the meaning of honor and valor. You grant every wish and prayer. Kiye, Kiye, Kiye Abbasi, the warrior like no other, the one that Hussein called brother. You'll be in our hearts forever. Kiye, Kiye, Kiye Abbasi. This is testament to what you gave, that the water circles your holy grave. If our hearts are troubled, oh, and in pain, we look to your shrine and call your name. We look to your shrine and call your name. Ya Abbas, 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 Ya Abbas. Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas, Abbas, Ya Abbas. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Before I end, I just wanted to, inshallah, pray that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and especially Bibi Fatima Zahra salamullahi alayha, accept our tears, accept our azadari. And I just want to say a few words for the school and for these programs. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of the organizers of these programs. The work that you're all doing is phenomenal. And inshallah, may you pass the torch of azar from your generation onto the next generation through the wasila of these majlises and these programs. Wa Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم أجمعين. Jazakallah, Subhanallah, Brother Shabir Tijani. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your effort, your amal in every majlis of Ahlul Bayt in its complete manner. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, with the comments that the children around the world pastes and shows us truly that they are learning, and the true essence of azadari is in their hearts and will inshallah remain in their hearts forever until the day of judgment. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that आपको कोई गम ना दे सिवाय गम Hussain alayhi salam, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep you and your entire family safe, and just the same dua that you have nicely given to all the participants around the world, their family, myself, KAZSCHOOL team, that I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the same for you, dear brother Shabir Tijani, that you pass on the torch of azadari, the essence of azadari, to your next generation, and it continues forward until the day of judgment, inshallah. Dear children, this brings us to the end of tonight's majlis. Let's all stand up, face the Qibla, and let's all recite this final salam nama. Let's all, dear children, stand up. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'in. Tonight's salam, we are doing the ziyarat nama, the salam nama, some call it, is we're sending our peace and salam to all the 14 Masumin alayhimus salam. So let's all really do this properly tonight. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alayka ya Rasulallah. Assalamu alayka ya Imam Ali Murtaza. Assalamu alayki ya Bibi Fatima Zahra. Assalamu alayki ya Bibi Zainab al-Kubra. Assalamu alayki ya Bibi Sakina. Assalamu alaikum ya Shohadai Karbala. Please accept our condolences, our pursa. Assalamu alayka ya Imam Hussain. Assalamu alayka ya Imam Hussain. Assalamu alayka ya Hazrat Abul Fazl al-Abbas. Assalamu alayka ya Imam Zain al-Abidin. Assalamu alayka ya Imam Muhammad Baqir. Assalamu alayka ya Imam Jafar Sadiq. Assalamu alayka ya Imam Musa al-Kazim. Assalamu alayka ya Imam Ali Raza. Assalamu alayka ya Imam Muhammad Taqi. Assalamu alayka ya Imam Ali al-Naqi. Assalamu alayka ya Imam Hassan Askari.
Let's all bow down a little bit, dear children, and send our proper salam to the Imam of our time, who is waiting for us, that we also become such a great Muslim, such a great human being, that we are in the companions and close ambassadors of Imam Mehdi. Assalamu alayka ya Mawla ya Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman. Ya Imam, Ya Imam, Ya Imam, Ya Allah. Dear children, continue to stand up and say Ilahi Ameen on the following. May Allah accept all your cries, your effort, your love for Abu Abdullah Hussain and Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas. Ilahi Ameen. May Allah give health to the sick ones through the intercession of Bimar Karbala, Imam Zain al-Abidin. Ilahi Ameen. Special request by a sister and a brother tonight that they are not well. Please recite for their well-being, for everybody else around the world, especially in Afghanistan right now, what's happening with all those little children, the girls being taken away. Let's all pray to Allah that, Ya Allah, no one is merciful than you, O Allah. No one is as merciful, as compassionate as you are, oh Allah. Only you can help these people around the world. Only you can bring the final justice, Allah, because your adl, your insaf, your justice prevails over every single person's justice. May Allah give Kamil Iman, complete faith to each and every one of us. Ilahi Ameen. May we all get the marifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Ilahi Ameen. May we all get the opportunity to visit all the holy shrines of the Masumeen. Ilahi Ameen. May Allah forgive our sins, our mistakes, our shortcomings. Ilahi Ameen. May Allah forgive us if we have been rude, disrespectful in the Majlis of Abu Abdullah Hussain. Ilahi Ameen. May Allah hasten the reappearance of Imam Mehdi alayhi salam. Ilahi Ameen. Let's all recite Surah Fatiha and 3 times Surah Tawheed for all the marhumin, all the people who have passed away, all the shuhada Karbala. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmani Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad. الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Just a final dua of Hazrat Abul Fazl Abbas. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ya Kashifa Karbi an Waji al Hussain. Ikshif Karbi bihaqqi akhika al Hussain alayhi salam. Ask for your hajats, ask for your wishes now, dear children, and then recite salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum ajma'in. Iltimas dua, inshallah, I will see you tomorrow night. Khuda Hafiz.